Ladies and gentlemen, the countdown has now begun, going into the first map of this best of 5 series right here on the Metalopolis. And here we go, just loading into the first matchup right now. Metalopolis has been the venue for some absolutely astonishing series in all sorts of different tournaments. It is a staple, it is extremely popular. You really don't see all that many map pulls without it, and there's a very, very good reason for that.
Well, it's a great all-round map. Both of these players are going to be quite happy that it is Metalopolis to open up the map. There's no really favors to any of the matchups. And we have loaded in Total Biscuit.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. And it is my absolute, complete and total pleasure to bring you the one and only Mana. He is from Team Mouse Sports. He is in the green trunks and he is playing Protoss to the north of the Metalopolis versus his opponent, the mighty DIMAGA. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Zerg to the south.
And are you guys excited for this finals? Because up on stage, I can feel the excitement.
Yes, you can feel it coming off in waves. Perhaps it's just the heat of the lighting. Perhaps it's just the heat of the computers. We would like to believe that that is excitement for fantastic esports action. And I think we would be about right in that regard.
We do have Mana in his base just checking for that Overlord, making sure it is in close position by air, and he will therefore move the probe directly cross position, knowing exactly where his opponent is. Also, we have the Overlord of DIMAGA moving across now. We'll check that location very, very shortly, and then note that he is in this cross position.
Yep, that'll be nice as far as I'm concerned for Mana. This really feeds into the kind of game that he's wanting to do. Doesn't really want to be in close air at this point, just wants to try and play a nice straight up game. This is probably the best position he could possibly in for that to happen.
Mana throwing down this 13 gateway, and Nerves must be playing a factor now as they are on stage, and that may benefit DIMAGA more, to be honest. I mean, DIMAGA has played on the biggest of stages for many years now, and Mana hasn't been around at the largest scenes for too many times, and this is a pretty big arena.
This, I think, is reminding him of his matchup at DreamHack Winter last year that you no doubt remember because you were commentating it, versus Nama, where he ended up coming in second in that regard. But Mana has had a ton more tournament experience since then. He was claiming before this that he had absolutely no issues with nerves whatsoever. We'll have to see as to whether or not that's the case.
Now we see DIMAGA going into the Extractor, playing very safe, especially it is because, well, it is the finals. You don't want to really open up and lose a straight game. Even though it is a best of 5, you have a lot of leeway. Losing the first game always gives the other player a lot of momentum.
Yes, it does. And right now, I think both players are going to want to play it nice and safe to feel out their opponent's strategies, to try and get an idea as to exactly what to expect in this series.
Now we do have a pretty standard build from Mana, and he's grabbing that second assimilator. We'll be looking for some form of expansion, whether it be 3-gate before, or he may move down earlier and go 1-gate expansion. And DIMAGA will be picking up this expansion after he gets rid of this probe now. And the probe is down, 1 hit remaining, and that will go down.
Yep, and down it goes, and there we go. First blood in this particular matchup going to DIMAGA, and a hatchery going down for him as well, nice and secure. And it's not entirely surprising to see both gas taken initially on this. What you've got is a very wide open natural, and of course sentries are going to come into play here. Yeah,
sentries are basically the backbone of this play. And so far, I mean, he hasn't moved down, and he has no scanning information, has no idea what is going on for DIMAGA. At the same time, he does know DIMAGA's style. He doesn't like to play super aggressive early on, and he will be very cautious on how he wants to expand. And so far, we won't see those gateways down yet. He has gone for a Stalker first, and even though a lot of players are like, well, he's gone Stalker first, that means his gas is hiding. Well, a lot of the mind game in that thought process is, if I build a Stalker, you know, he can think that I'm going to do something a little bit more aggressive and spend my gas somewhere else. But in reality, look at this. He's pulling down and getting ready to go for that very fast expansion.
Yep, very smart play initially there from Mana, and this first game is going to be all about mind games, feeling out your opponent, trying to figure out exactly where he's coming from and what his long-term game plan is, because this is a best of 5 series, which means that you've got to not just be thinking about the game you're playing right now, you have to be thinking about the next few and the potential of it going all the way to 5.
DIMAGA is now got speed out, is going around the map, and now the map control will be for DIMAGA. I mean, he will control both the Xel'Naga towers, he'll have all the vision, and this Stalker could be in a bit of trouble, though. There are only 3 Zerglings, and they're scattered up now, the expansion. He sees only a 2nd gate, the 3rd one has not been added yet.
Yep, that is very true, and that is really interesting as well right here for Mana. And I have to wonder exactly what that does indicate. As you can see right there, 2 gateways can often indicate a very fast robotics facility through to a robotics bay trying to work on Colossus. He is actually going for hallucination, however, so that indicates he definitely will not do that. Hallucination is almost always indicative that he wishes to try and delay the rover for as long as possible, because otherwise he would be getting observers. So this is a really interesting opening right here from Mana.
Yeah, I mean, going for hallucination, well, kind of before the 3rd gate is really interesting, and it's a little bit greedy, to be honest. I mean, if this was an aggressive Zerg player, that could be punished very hard, but this is DIMAGA, and look, he takes that 3rd hatchery in this safe location. Already the creep spread starting to push out, and we see the evolution chamber and the roach warring down, and that is DIMAGA. He isn't really playing the new style of Zerg recently, which is very Ling heavy, going for an early layer, early infestation pit. He's still playing the old style, and you know, people say new style is always better. Well, DIMAGA's in the final, sir.
Yeah, the new style is not always better at all, and indeed it's the old style that beat ST in the first place. So as far as I'm concerned, that's proof positive that that is not true at all. Mana now pushing out. He's got a large force of sentries, so he will be able to push away any Zerglings that happen to come in. There's the hallucinated Phoenix, which immediately scouts the 3rd. So right now, Mana's got a really good set of pieces of information to go with. He actually has, I believe, is that 2 hallucinated? No, never mind. He's gone in for that, and now takes control of the Zolnaga watchtowers as well. And DIMAGA forced to play passively for the time being, building up his lair tech, and of course working on getting this 3rd running and fully saturating it.
Yeah, very smart play by Mana to move out there. Just snipe the Zolnaga tower, make DIMAGA build units basically and not drones, and then just retreat nice and safe. He doesn't have the force to fight. He doesn't want to fight now. He's just creating pressure, and as you can see, he's gearing up for a 3rd base. And DIMAGA does have a Ling, and it goes around, sees that natural, sees the gateways there. Not too much information as he couldn't get into the main, but at the same time, this hallucinated Phoenix from Mana getting a lot of scouting information, sees the layer, sees the roach speed, all the tunneling claws being researched, and also the evolution chamber.
Yeah, the hallucination early on was actually a really smart play against Zerg, simply because you know for a fact that Zerg has very little in terms of anti-air firepower before they get up to lair. They're relying on queens. They're most likely not going to have spore crawlers up in this particular matchup at that stage. So a hallucination is going to get in there absolutely free. It only costs energy and, of course, the initial investment in the tech. And Mana has really made good use of that and is now securing this 3rd, walling off with gateways.
He actually misses the infestation pit with that hallucinated Phoenix. He misses that information, which is basically what he's looking for now. And that tells a story in its own, and that may surprise Mana, as he won't be really expecting the infestors out yet. Well, he's been sending so many hallucinated Phoenix out, you could almost say he was a little bit nervous, wanting to consistently scout. But he does get this 3rd base up, and DIMAGA sees it nice and early with the Zergling, sees the initial pylon and gateway being morphed. And DIMAGA quite comfortable to sit back and be like, that's cool, man, you take that 3rd.
Yeah, I don't think you can feel like it is to be expected. The first game in the series will be fairly passive as a direct result of them both not being entirely sure as to the other's game plan. A lot of scouting information. I have to wonder if that's actually going to work against Mana, because I think that Mana maybe believes that he has an awful lot more information than he really does, and missing that key tech structure is going to make a huge difference. If Mana is not prepared to deal with these infestors, and to be honest, he doesn't have High Templar out, so that's going to be a little bit tricky. He can, of course, slice them apart with the Colossus and the range upgrade, but there are already 6 on the way. Colossus haven't even started production now, and Mana is starting to roll out. He's got to be really careful not to get caught out of position here.
Yeah, especially because the Panathen Glance is about to finish the upgrade for the infestors, increasing their energy. And if he does move out further than the halfway line, I suppose you could say he could be in a lot of trouble. The Observer is in the center of the map, seeing 2 Spine Crawlers going down. He may question that and wonder why. He needs to move inside with this Observer to get more information. Still very, very little information. He's been scouting consistently, but not just getting the correct sources of information for this game.
Again, I think that is possibly a weakness. I think he believes that he knows more than he really does, and that's a real danger. However, he has now spotted the infestors. With that Observer, he is hopefully prepared, and it was a smart play as well to push down the right flank of this map, which is not so covered in creep. DIMAGA with triple Spine Crawler right here, looking, of course, to secure this 4th base that is now fully operational. And these guys are going to have to face it off for a while, and I think Mana's very, very comfortable attacking when he's at a full 200 with plenty of upgrades and a good fall. And DIMAGA is more willing to go in a little bit earlier and is now amassing a very large force to make that happen.
Yeah, and I love the respect each of these players are given to the other player as they are just toe-to-toe, not really doing anything so far, just playing it very, very safe. There's a lot of money on the line. First place, 8,000 euros. Second place, 4,000 euros. And for a best of 5, 4,000 euros is a lot of money.
Yeah, it really, really is. There is a huge difference in terms of the first and second place. Now MMana's going to roll, and interestingly, he actually has 2 Immortals in this mix. There are a further 7 Infestors being built, which will take the total to 16. That's an incredibly large number, and I have to wonder how prepared MMana really is to deal with that. Of course, with absolutely no feedback, he has no reliable way to pop those Infestors before they start doing huge amounts of damage.
And the problem what we're not seeing from MMana now, he's not really sniping any creep tumors or putting pressure. I mean, he's poking out, but it's not really putting DIMAGA under any pressure now. I mean, he's been at, well, he was at 70 drones for a long time. He's now at 90. He's taken his 5th base now. Though MMana is getting the gold base up, which is pretty bad for DIMAGA, and DIMAGA would like to do something against that. He is going to Hive. The Spire is on the way. He will be transitioning into Broodlords. And there's the first creep tumor kill.
Oh, he finally eliminates that one. And the left flank is what I'd be really worried about, because DIMAGA has spread creep all the way up to the gold base. He's going to be in a great position to actually harass that area. Even with those cannons are actually positioned in possibly the worst places I can imagine to deal with any kind of harassment from the left here.
The smart play will put in some high tempo now, turning them into Archons, realizing these Lings do have +2 now. And Archons are, well, they are really good against Lings, Total Biscuit.
They are incredibly good against Zerglings. They tend to pop Zerg units really, really well. They used to be particularly unpopular, and then they gave them a nice little extra buff in the patch. And speaking of things that are becoming very, very popular in this tournament, building 12 Spine Crawlers simultaneously, DIMAGA incredibly defensive at the moment.
Yeah, and we saw this style from DIMAGA against Elfie actually on the Terminus, just building a bunch of Spine Crawlers, sitting back in a passive position because he knows once he's at Hive Tech, once the Spire, the Greater Spire, has finished, Broodlords will morph, and he's going to be in such a comfortable position. And really, I mean, I'm looking across MMana and looking at all his units. He really doesn't have anything that can combat these Broodlords very well here. No,
he doesn't. He's actually got 2 problems. They're called Infestors and Broodlords, and he doesn't really have a great way to combat either of them. I mean, he does have 6 High Templar now, but that's 6 High Templar versus 16 Infestors. These are not EMPs, these are feedbacks. He's not going to be able to eliminate that many, especially if DIMAGA is able to clean out some of that energy first before the feedbacks go off. MMana now pushing down the side, and a very small engagement going easily defeated, and that was just a scouting force right there by DIMAGA. He wanted to know exactly how large his opponent was, and is now taking an opportunity to shoot up the right flank.
Yeah, he's shooting up, and Zerglings are going to be able to go in. He might need, well, he's going to need to warp in a Zergling onto that ramp if he doesn't want them to go into the main base, and then forcing probes to be pulled off.
Yep, and the French will be able to fall off, but no, he does not, but he does have to loss to clean up most of those. 2 Zerglings get into the main. They'll be easily cleaned up without too much of a problem. However, some damage has been done right here to the natural right here by DIMAGA, and that's 8 workers killed.
And we do have 4 roaches onto the gold base as well, sneaking here, and I'm looking at the units killed, well, the workers killed, 12 in total, just by a little sneak with Lings, and then
DIMAGA is a really high drone count, really high drone count. This entire tournament we've seen him hanging around what you've described as a July Zerg style, which is of course the famous player from Korea, around 58 to 60, which is an impressive style. That means you build a lot of units and you don't get supply capped. This is 94 drones. That's a huge number, and I have to wonder what's forced him to change his style here.
Storm is ready. Nice fungal growth. Storm is available though, and now DIMAGA pulling all the Broodlords across the engagements, but look how many Infestors there are, and a lot of fungal growth.
Massive amounts of available. And now the Broodlords are trying to shoot their way through there. He actually needs to Storm. DIMAGA is sitting in it at this point, and MMana jumping in as quickly as possible, trying to eliminate the right flank, and the Broodlords forced back right here. Huge amounts of feedbacks going on as well, and these Infestors aren't really doing all that much. DIMAGA being forced all the way back to his third, and now the Infestors come in. What can he do? Big fungal growth goes off, and a couple of Infested Terrors there, but really he's actually lacking firepower. Massive amounts of Infested Terrors being spawned, blocking in that Stalker with the sheer number of units, and MMana continues to apply pressure.
And DIMAGA hasn't actually slipped under 192. MMana is down at 136. This is what happens when you let a Zerg sit back. They will take the entire of the map, and they will have so many resources. Great Storm and feedback.
Yeah, huge Storm right there, and then the Force Field to trap them in against those Colossus. 12 in there already, and in terms of the kill count, he's doing very, very well. Now, DIMAGA being forced back very slightly, but there is only one Colossus there. There are plenty of Corruptors there to deal with that one. And then, of course, big fungal growth on pretty much everything right there, and roaches on the way in to try and clean up the spawn.
19 roaches in production, but 2 immortals here racking up so many kills, and Mana is cutting off the reinforcements. He's splitting DIMAGA into this section over here, and this is absolutely perfect for Mana as more stalkers are coming in, and this is Mana absolutely tearing through the heart and economy of DIMAGA. But look at this, there are 9 brutal people, but these blink stalkers are so effective.
I'm really concerned for DIMAGA right now. Yes, 9 blue is really nice, but 38 blink stalkers. That is a little bit more than I think DIMAGA can handle. He'll have to combo that up with some infestors. He'll have to lock them down. But Mana is not letting him anywhere near at this point. He's actually taken not all that much damage from fungal growths at all. Mana is split up quite nicely, and those infestors are now geared up to do some fungal growth, and he's going to have to lock them down as quickly as possible. There's the massive blink right there by Mana, who's now tearing through a storm right here under the Broodlords. Huge amounts of damage coming down at DIMAGA's forces. That's the Broodlords ripped out of the sky, and that said, Mana has taken huge damage in the process. Yeah,
these roaches are 0-0 though, so they're just instantly melting to the crosses. The immortal put back Mortal, 17 kills. The second one, 15 kills. And now infestors are left with their pants down. There are no units in front of them. What do? They don't have enough energy, and now another base is under threat. DIMAGA trying to take the gold base at the same time, but he just literally does not have enough units. 20 more roaches are in production.
This is not falling apart for DIMAGA right here, but it's certainly not beaten yet. Now the blink stalk count has gone down to very, very, very low numbers. He should be able to get the Brutals up, and another wave of reinforcements coming in right here by Mana. This Colossus has 52 kills. It will not stop. It is slaughtering the entirety of DIMAGA's army single-handedly right now as he continues to push it into the corner. He goes, and now DIMAGA is in a do-or-die fight, trying to deal with this, and he's able to push it back for the time being with reinforcements streaming in across the map. The Colossus must escape with 54 kills and is now being pursued by a rather small group of very angry roaches.
And the Executor Colossus has his shield kicked down by a single Zergling. And now the gold hatchery goes down. Another hatchery is on the right hand side and the left for DIMAGA. And there was a huge counterattack with Lings, by the way, while that was going on. Destroyed a lot of Mana's economy, and it kind of equalized the drone/probe count. It is at 50 probes to 46 drones currently, so it's very equal, but DIMAGA does not have any mining bases to actually use these drones on.
That is a bit of a problem. He's now building 3 more hatcheries. Flying Crawler's been deploying at just the wrong time right here. A quick blink past it right into the line of Broodlords, massacring them at this point. Fungal growth lands on it, and the question is, will the roaches be able to clean it up? It's looking like they might with a combination of fungal growth and now Spine Crawlers deployed on the flank. The Colossus still lives, and he's trying to take on this entire army almost single-handedly. The shield's going down. Will Mana finally lose that Colossus? He gets 60 kills, and down it goes to a Spine Crawler.
To a Spine Crawler. The death of a champion is to a Spine Crawler. 2 Stalkers left though. They do kill a single Broodlord, which is very nice. And I can't believe this. This is 72 versus 91. DIMAGA holds the upgrades. These +3 melee attack is doing so much damage to these Stalkers. And kind of Mana's fallen a little bit behind in upgrades. He's only at 2-1, and he has the money, or had the money rather, to upgrade to +3 to get the rest of the armor upgrade. A hatchery does go down on the left-hand side for DIMAGA, but he has gained this back 1. But it's not going to be alive for much longer. He needs to get drones over to that top right. But more Stalkers, another Immortal, Archon, and Zealots are coming in.
Mana has absolutely no intention of allowing that to happen. I can hardly blame him. 57 armies flying out of 38. Both of these competitors just in game 1 have almost absolutely exhausted each other's forces. A quick blink right there, right into a line of Spine Crawlers. But the aim is to, of course, eliminate these Broodlords, which is able to do this very, very easily. And now, with a lack of fungal growth, a couple of infestors spitting out infested terrors, but ripped apart right here by Mana, who continues the assault.
3 Zealots make their way into the main base on DIMAGA as well. A little bit of distraction, a little bit of annoyance, but these Stalkers are going down as well. The food count, 67 for DIMAGA, 81 for Mana right now.
Yeah, these +3 upgrades are really helping him an awful lot. The problem is he just doesn't quite have what he needs to really launch a solid counter-attack. This base is barely mining simply because he can't transfer drones there. Another wave goes in for MMana. A quick transfuse right down the spine corner. Queen's forced to fight. He has nothing else to do it with. And that was at least 3 or 4 transfuses, and the spine crawler holds.
Somebody messaged me how DIMAGA is still in this game because I don't know. He's been holding like a boss for the entire of this game. The 4th Broodlord is about to be made as well, and 4 Broodlords against what? 4 Stalkers and 2 Archons, maybe a 3rd now. DIMAGA's slowly getting back into this, and it's absolutely incredible that he is.
Yeah, he has fought tooth and nail, absolutely refused to give up, where several other players no doubt would have several times over by now. It doesn't matter because he is going all out in this game, and he knows that he can wear Mana down in a long macro game, and that'll be ideal for him going into this best-of-5 series. Try and exhaust his opponent, grind him down, and perhaps even take the win. He is still in this, and the supply count is surprisingly even.
Yes, indeed it is. Another Archon and Stalkers are being made, and MMana is just trying to scramble around with these probes. I mean, he's got a lot of probes on that naturally he could put onto the gold, but the gold is getting mined out as well. But now, the key thing for MMana is that back left base has now got probes back on it, which should have happened a long time ago. Stage pressure, stage fright, whatever you want to call it, it may be affecting MMana right now, but he does have a decent sized army. But look at this, +3, I have to repeat that, +3 Zerglings and Broodlords.
Yep, and not go off on that one, and Corruptor picked up as well as he goes right from the natural, trying to rip the heart right here out of DIMAGA. Will he be able to do it? He's got 4 Archons right now. The Greatest Fire is going down at this point, and DIMAGA is not responding to that at all. He needs to gather a good force, and he knows it. Going in before he has everything possible is a terrible idea. MMana sniping off that natural right now, and he does see a small force, or at least what he thinks is a small force. It is not what lurks beneath. We have 5 Broodlords. We've got some Infestors with plenty of energy, and MMana smartly evacuating as quickly as possible. And
the sniping of that Greatest Spire was so important. I love the fact that MMana did not try to engage there. He cannot win the fight yet. The advantage MMana has is that back base is mining. The gold base is kind of mining. It's very running out dry though, and he is expanding to the left-hand side. DIMAGA has the right south location, barely mining, and he only has this one mining base in the top right. He has to go layer again. Well, I'm going layer again. I'm like, wait, why are you going layer again?
He's doing it because he thinks that his main isn't a great threat. After having that Greatest Spire sniped off, he believes there's a very real possibility of say a drop or a quick sneak into the base to annihilate the hive before he can respond. So he wants to make sure that he's got spare tech, because of course losing the hive would be disastrous if he has to rebuild anything.
Indeed, and now the army of MMana is getting quite healthy again. The upgrades have remained the same though, 2-1 upgrades, 160 supply though, and versus 130 for DIMAGA, and it's all going to come down to can MMana kill these Broodlords before the Broodlords kill you.
And he also has to worry, the longer he waits, the more possibility there is for Neural Parasite. Neural Parasite on, say, the Templar for a Storm, Neural Parasite on the Archons for air effect damage. That is an extremely dangerous thing. You have to worry about that. However, MMana is going in at just the right time. An Infestor manages to land a big fungal growth in the middle. Now Zerglings with Broodlings screaming in right here as he tries to defend. A Storm on the roaches to the right flank right here as DIMAGA continues to rain down pressure right now on MMana's army. The question is, can DIMAGA hold? A big Storm underneath that, and a lot of damage coming in at second Storm, but he holds once again and throws his opponent back.
The Queens are transfusing so well. The Broodlords are basically back to full health now, and now MMana is like, I actually can't stop that.
How do I break this? Yeah, how do I bust it?
Well, he's going to have to switch over to Void Rays.
Oh, yes.
And that's going to be the only way he can combat this. Also, you have to think about the Broodlings are +3, but also the Broodlords are +1. So there's just a lot of damage output from them, and there's basically these roaches sitting there tanking so much damage, preventing the Stalkers just blinking on top of those Broodlords. Fantastic composition from DIMAGA, and he's still holding this. He's got another hatchery down here, mining from this base, getting both of these extractors up, and that's going to be very important. As I'm looking at the unit tab, actually 45 drones versus 63 probes. MMana does have that back base, and he has another potential base here where this overall will surely down.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to last a lot much longer, honestly. There we go. We've got another Stargate going up as well. That's going to be 2 in total. pretty much pumping out the Void Rays. We have seen this before. That's the dangerous thing about it. Yes, Void Rays absolutely fantastic for purpose, but what happens if they get fungal growth? We've seen that happen. It's very, very unpleasant. It happened in this very tournament.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of queens here as well that will do some DPS along with that fungal growth. Infested Terrans are going to help out a lot as well, and they will be a big problem. So, and the thing is, you can't actually go in like 2 or 4 Void Rays. You have to wait until you get 10 or more, and so that actually is a long time away. So, DIMAGA playing a little bit too passive maybe, but then again, he feels so confident. He had the same style against Elfie earlier in this tournament, where he was like, that's cool, you know, you get Void Rays, that's fine, because I can fungal growth and destroy them so fast.
Yes, indeed. And the question is, will he be able to pull that off? Mana may not make the same mistake. Mana also deploying a Warp Prism, and this is where things start to get a little bit hairy. What kind of damage can he do with a Warp Prism drop? Probably quite a lot, especially to this expansion here. Very vulnerable in the close air position across from Mana's base. Can he drop here? Possibly. Can he, of course, try and deny any further expansion opportunities? We are getting to the point where every expansion in this map is taken, and this is only game 1. We were actually making jokes that this, in fact, was designed not to win the tournament, but to kill Apollo, since he would wear out by the end of it.
It's okay, man. I'm good for that test. I got 50 euros under the table with somebody I'm not going to name. I want that 50 euros.
Oh, yes. Yes, he does. And right now, here comes that massive warp-in right here from the charging Zealots, who are smashing the way in. Oh, no, he's found the Greater Spire again, and DIMAGA can't be happy about losing it a second time.
Considering his entire composition is based around that, and it does go down again, which means the Spire has to make it. The Spire takes so long, and then the Greater Spire takes even longer. So it's going to be a long time, which allows these Void Rays to technically be stronger, because there's going to be a lot less Void Rays, a lot less Corruptors out for the time being.
Yeah, the Corruptor count is really low. I mean, really low. It's at 4, which really doesn't make a huge amount of difference at all. Of course, dropping Corruption on his opponent will help, and the Infested Terrans, the Queens, and of course the Fungal Growths are going to be the thing that stops those Void Rays.
And we do have another Warp Prism usage. We have 6 Zealots going into the mineral line, though DIMAGA's force is very, very close, and let's see how much damage they will do.
Yep, he's actually deliberately targeting the gas, which is a very smart thing to do right here. He knows that denying the gas is the best idea against the third player. It is nailed down very easily right here by DIMAGA. A last-ditch effort to kill an Infestor? I think not. And that is now shut down, but you know what? Warp Prisms can be kind of annoying like that.
And this game has gone from DIMAGA on the ropes to a 60 versus 70 supply fight, and now is back up to 190, 165, which is incredible, actually. And both players are looking to mine out the entire of the map. The one location DIMAGA should probably think about taking soon is that gold base. The Broodlords are going to be able to have good positions. The Blinkstalkers aren't going to be able to get up there easily, and especially because there's going to be so many Infestors and Roaches around. We'll have to see.
Yeah, there's no real doubt about that. And Mana perhaps looking to blink into the main, maybe to deny some more tech. He's certainly not going to be shooting anything mining. He hasn't been mining anything mining there for 20 or so minutes. You know, those plasma will be incredibly low. We're going to reach keep the company. There's a fungal growth, and here come the Roaches, and everything else now piling on it. And the hive might go down, and if it does, that's going to be hugely problematic. But DIMAGA guns them down with great vengeance and furious anger.
Wow, that's pretty big actually for DIMAGA there. That should be a sign of him feeling a lot more comfortable. He should probably think about pushing out. The problem is Mana's economy is pretty good. He just reinforces those Stalkers up. Now look, all these Void Rays, and they don't have any upgrades, but they're still going to be useful. And DIMAGA has no idea about the starports. Actually, looking in his vision, he hasn't seen anything of the sort. He does have creep all the way up in his right lane, so he will spot it if Mana decides to go down there.
Yeah, and I think if Mana's got any sense, he's not going to do that. He'll attack the left flank instead. That's possibly a much better idea. It will not give him that warning. And it's a massive collection of Void Rays, +1 air weapons coming out, +3 ground weapons finally coming in at around the 40-minute mark in this game. And more Broodlords once again. And this is just crazy. It really is. Incredibly long macro game to test the endurance and the strength of both contestants.
Yeah, and I mean, I even spoke to both of them before, and they are a little bit tired because they have been here competing since 11 o'clock this morning and training before that, so it's been a long day for both of these players as well. And endurance game in number 1 is probably not the best thing for their stamina, but we'll see how it goes. These Stalkers are just poking around. I like the creep cleanup from Mana on this right-hand side lane. But now these Void Rays are getting +1 air weapons, +3 ground is also finally being researched from Mana. But still, looking at the unit tab, there are 14 Broodlords now, 12 Infestors going to be underneath them.
It's a lot of firepower available right here for DIMAGA. The problem is this entire game for him. So bearing in mind, he's been on the defensive almost this entire game. He's done some run-bys, but he's done no real full-on assaults against his opponent. And since he's just been on the ropes, being repeatedly pummeled by Mana, he's started to concede ground. And the question is, what is he going to do? He's going to borrow all of these. However, once again, Mana's there just the right time, but he doesn't want to face up against that many Spine Crawlers, especially not backed up by a huge number of Infestors.
And DIMAGA sees the Void Rays now and is like, oh, I need to get some Spore Crawlers, let's build some more Corruptors, and it's all going to see how these growth get down.
And here we go, once again, more big pressure coming in. The Archon's coming, a huge amount of damage. There's some feedback, 1 Infestor, 2 Infestor pops right there, and a big score in the back as well. The Void Rays are chewing through, however, there was a lot of Infestor Terrans coming down, but he's deliberately dropping sides of it. Big fungal growth, a stack of Void Rays just right for the plugging. However, the Infestor count is getting lower. Regardless, it doesn't matter, there's nothing on the ground, and Mana is being annihilated.
The Void Rays are alive! No,
they're not! Not anymore, they aren't. They were massively bungled, and a huge number popped in. Hey, Infested Terrans want to get involved in this particular party. The Void Ray might get away, these things limping along, pathetically trying to get there. But you know what that managed to get him? The gold base.
It did, and now he's going to have this gold base. He did lose a lot of Broodlords in that fight, probably around 6, I think, maybe 7. But at the same time, Mana lost everything. He does have a lot of minerals, but the gases are starting to mine out now. And both players, as you can see, have so many minerals, so little gas. That's so important. The Creator Spy is up and running again, and these Broodlords are going to have to take a while to regenerate that health. They will do it ever so slowly.
And now he's not going to let him have the gold base. These 2 Void Rays now focusing fire with the +1 air weapon right down that hatchery. That's charging up, and that, ladies and gentlemen, may very well be dead. There is no real way he can stop it. He goes for it anyway, but down it goes once again. DIMAGA once again denied this vital mining base.
Yeah, this vital mining base could really push him to the victory in this game. Both, well, not just the gold mineral fields, it's also going to be, more importantly, these extractors, which are going to be so important for him to take now. And all these Broodlords can start doing damage and launch their missile attacks onto this gold base. DIMAGA slowly but surely pushing up. He has so many Spine Crawlers and Spore Crawlers on either side of this fight, completely safe versus counterattacks.
Just to make clear how close this game has been, 51,000 resources lost for Mana, 49,800 resources lost for DIMAGA. That's more resources than most players spend in 5 games.
This is a long game, 45 minutes now on the clock, and these 2 players fighting off to get that first momentum game. More Spine Crawlers are going down on the right hand side for DIMAGA, and slowly now these Broodlords are regaining health. Let's have a look at the army composition of Mana now. There are 6 Void Rays, there are 4 Stalkers, and 6 Archons are going to make a good difference as well. But look at how many Queens there are on the center of the map.
What on earth is going on? Why are there 12 Queens? DIMAGA has built 12 Queens. This is not exactly what I call usual. Of course, he wants to shut down the Void Rays.
And he's bringing all the other Queens as well. This is it. This is going for DIMAGA. Wants to win right now. All these Queens are coming. In total, there are going to be about 15, 16 Queens coming here. They're going to have a lot of transfuses, which means these Broodlords are going to stay alive for a long time.
Well, yeah, this is absolutely the standard composition that you would expect in a 50-minute macro game on Metalopolis. Queen, Infested, Broodlord, what? I don't even know, but whatever the case is going for it. Hey, let's throw some Changelings in there and have a look. They want to get into this particular fight. Now, finally, DIMAGA has secured this base, and is making sure Void Rays aren't going to get anywhere near it.
Yeah, I mean, the Queens are going to be used for the transfuse. They can also, I guess, Queen has decent DPS when there's 14 of them.
Well, yes, they actually do, and they've got really good range against air. He is afraid of the Void Rays. There are 10 of them currently on the field, and the transfuse, as he said, is a big deal. The Void Rays poking away at that lair right here, but however, here comes the fungal growth, repeated fungal growth. Will he be able to nail the Void Rays down before they go down? This is what the Queens are for, ladies and gentlemen, and the Void Rays melt.
4 out of them Void Rays do melt. Now there are only 6, and that's a bit of a problem, to be honest. And drones are in the fray as well. They may just be going to the gold base, but they could also be going with the rest of the Queens, trying to hold hands in this engagement. One day they might be, but they are just going to go over to this gold base, and the amount of queens is so interesting. Every second that ticks by, the infestor energy is increasing, the queen energy is increasing, which means this is going to be very hard because there's only a few High Templar here for mana.
Fleet Beacon coming in right now for Mana, which of course means one of two things, and possibly both. What else do you do when a game goes on for this long other than build a Fleet Beacon?
Yeah, I mean, he's looking at probably getting a mothership here and unlocking +2 attack as well for these Void Rays would be very, very beneficial here. At the same time, both players, I cannot believe how toe-to-toe this map is.
Mana has 6,500 minerals in the bank and absolutely nothing to spend it on. I have a feeling he's going to annihilate some of his less useful units, possibly deploying a mothership, which I can't remember the last time I saw that seriously deployed. Carriers on the way right here for Mana.
Carriers, and also the upgrade for the carriers and the interceptors. Still though, I mean, I'm looking at the amount of gas he has. He really can't make too many carriers because they are so expensive. 250 gas each. I mean, he can get 4, maybe 6 at the same time. Oh, he's killing off all these probes.
He's assassinating his probes. Yeah, they have served their purpose. Mana is your typical evil overlord, is to be expected. He will throw away his minions when he feels like it's a good idea. He throws away that zealot as well. He didn't like him anyway. He had 1 day left until retirement. Mana just paid attention. So there you go.
I mean, I don't know if you remember, or anybody watching remembers DIMAGA versus Soke and DreamHack Winter on Crevasse.
Oh god.
DIMAGA kind of did the same style he's doing now, and all of a sudden, literally 30 Void Rays turned up and were always just shifting around the map, doing so much damage. And at the end of the day, when the final fight came down, what can you do against that much fully charged Void Rays?
Not an awful lot. Carriers is a really odd choice, but I suppose this is a really weird game. This is not standard at all. And as a direct result of that, you see some very, very bizarre play as these guys are trying to figure out how to kill each other.
Effective way to kill creep tumors, 3 probes.
Probes! Yeah, there we go. That sounds entirely sensible. Let's do that. And you know what? He actually managed to pick one off, so they've served their purpose.
I mean, he was going to sacrifice them anyway, so might as well take a creep tumor as well.
DIMAGA's building 10 more spine crawlers, entirely standard on this map.
Yeah, indeed. +2 weapons, as mentioned, we'll be upgrading now for these carriers who are already at +1, and the remaining Void Rays.
The funny thing is that carriers is an incredibly smart choice. Look at the corruptor count. 1. He has no corruptors, which is of course absolutely the best way to shut down carriers. He actually has no reliable way of killing them.
Well, I mean, the infested Terrans and the fungal growths and the queens are going to be pretty good too, but the DPS of Void Rays is going to be so high they'll literally one-shot a lot of these queens. It's all going to be down to a lot of these feedbacks as well, that all these High Templar have now got pretty much maximum energy. We do have a DIMAGA Changeling in there, wanting to change races, but that is not going to happen.
Damn traitors.
I know.
Whatever.
There's a lot of feedback available, to be honest. I mean, you're looking at feedback as 50 energy. Each one of these High Templars pretty much maxed out at 200. So, who went to school?
Yes, apparently. Whatever the case. Interceptors coming in right here, of course, for these carriers. The thing about carriers is that carriers have absurd range, effectively. And that's the big deal about them. That's why they could potentially be incredibly effective depending on the positioning. They can actually fire from out of range of this group. There are 17 Broodlords, 12 Infestors, 12 Queens, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree.
Indeed, there is Total Biscuit, and the creep spread continues up this right flank. Another Changeling is going as well. And slowly but surely, in the first game of this epic finals, we're actually going to see a fully mined out Protoss and a fully mined out Zerg. And it's all going to come down to what they have left and what they have in the bank, which respectively is a lot of minerals, which either we're going to see an epic clash of titans, and then we're going to see Zerglings versus Zealots.
Zerglings versus Zealots, yep, that's pretty much all he'll have left. They won't have any gas. He's down to 14 probes. He's slaughtered most of them. This Zealot, apparently, killing your own guys doesn't count towards a kill count, so that's very upsetting.
I mean, you don't even need probes and drones anymore, so you might as well get rid of them. There's
what are you
nothing
going to
left
mine? Exactly.
Unless you're going to place spine crawls everywhere like DIMAGA keeps doing.
Is DIMAGA finally actually going to roll out? It looks like he might. He's almost mined out here.
Broodlords here.
What is
he's
this?
making so many Broodlords, but what are Broodlords good against? Not Void Raising and
carriers.
especially not carriers, especially when they're almost at plus 3 now.
+3 carriers, as Sen showed us at a recent TL attack, are kind of good, especially when your corruptor count is precisely 0. And now, DIMAGA pushes out. He's about to get a very nasty surprise in the form of the Airborne Terror, rarely seen in any tournament. It's MMana's carriers.
Making short work in this Toro space.
No kidding.
And +3 mana needs to wait for +3. Going in a bit prematurely would be a little bit flat here, but he has to go, otherwise he will lose this high main base.
Carrier has arrived right here. The Interceptors now are going to do exactly what they are supposed to, and here we go. And this is going to define this entire fight. This is where it stops. And now feedback raining down, and Infestor after Infestor. Huge fungal throws going on. Most of the carriers out of range. Massive fungal there on the carriers. Very, very unpleasant indeed. Interceptors continue to blast their way through the Brood Lords, and it's taking a while to bring them down. If we look at army supply, DIMAGA is actually falling back right now, and those carriers just cannot be stopped. There is nothing on the field to deal with them right now.
I bet DIMAGA wishes Brood Lords could transform back into Corruptors, because this is looking bad. 8 Corruptors now are in the making. There are a few score points which will buy time, but 8 Corruptors are not going to do anything.
No.
+3 fully charged Void Rays and these Corruptors. And DIMAGA again throwing away another game like this, like you saw in DreamHack Summer.
Throwing away a game after about an hour, honestly. A very, very well-fought game. But MMana now just trashing his way through the remainder of DIMAGA's base. DIMAGA attempting to make himself carrier-proof, which is not exactly the kind of thing you usually practice doing.
Yeah, it's 30 going to make it. But I guess making soon at 400 or 4,000 minerals. The greatest spire is going to go down. The hatcheries on the right side are all going to go down. And this is going to be so difficult. These Corruptors, if I remember correctly, are only at +1. Yes, they are +1 against +3 Void Rays and carriers. The shields are back up to fully health now.
A Baneling Nest, absolutely
Nest
fantastic counter to carriers. Yep, all you basically have to do is throw them at the enemy. So we'll see if that happens. Whatever the case, MMana is now dominating the map. I believe there is no mining going on of any description on either side, with the exception of gas for MMana, who is building more carriers.
This is not what we have remaining. A single Infestor.
Go Infestor!
Fungal boats remaining, and he's going to have to hit them pretty accurately.
Well, Destiny told me that Infestor down to good, so I think it's fine. Whatever the case, here come the Brood Lords once again, and that's a lot of Blink Stalkers getting in there, really aggressive right now, throwing it in there, and the Fungal Growth in combination with the Corruption is a lot of damage, but not against +3 Interceptors. There's the pounce, here is the killing blow right here from MMana, who will take this first game after a ridiculous engagement. GG, ladies and gentlemen.